Now, here's the thing. Do you recognise this famous voice?
As Prime Minister, I thought Lorraine's programme was the right place to confess to my transgressions, and I will hand back the tickets. I will hand back the clothing. To be honest, I thought Taylor Swift was an estate agent, but there you go.
What about this one?
Look, the letters L and K, they're very, very important. It's Louisiana, it's Kentucky. It's Lorraine Kelly, and she's the greatest. It's got to be Lorraine Kelly, CBE. It's going to happen. Dame Lorraine, I'm going to make it happen.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we don't actually have Donald Trump or Keir Starmer on the show, but that was spooky, wasn't it? But, of course, we know who that voice was. It was impressionist Jon Culshaw, who can do everybody and anybody. It's so lovely to see you. That is uncanny. Uncanny. And now Keir Starmer is, of course, Prime Minister. That means he goes... Do you have a sort of league? So then he goes to the top?
Yeah, they do. It's rather like the charts. They move up the charts.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can sort of see them coming forward. So rather like a game of chess, you've got to kind of have them ready.
Yeah, you do.
2 or 3 moves that way.
Because it must be really difficult to have to, you know, when somebody's really in the public eye, like the last regime, you know, when it was Boris Johnson and all these other characters, they have to kind of go down a bit because they're not relevant, they're not in the news anymore. And that's the thing about you, it's always relevant what you're doing.
Yeah, we're just watching how things move. It's like a Dow Jones index of voices. And when it looked very likely that Keir Starmer was going to be Prime Minister, I noticed how similar he was to Ed Miliband. You know, Ed Miliband is way down here. And so if we just deconstruct it a bit and just smooth it out, speak as though you have a tennis ball-sized lump of blue tack in your throat, that's when you get Keir Starmer. But I'm going to be very careful about it. It's going to be very measured.
That is... It's uncanny. You've just... You must have... It's extraordinary, the ear, just to get... And you get a characteristic, and then is that when you've got the person, when you just get that wee thing that singles them out from everyone else?
Yes, there'll be a little nuance, a little something that just rings true, and you go, that's why they're funny, or that's why they're recognisable. And you stretch it, rather like a caricaturist doing a piece of art.
Massive, massive, I think, wonderful thing to happen. I think it's an honour to be, you know, somebody to take the time and trouble to study you and then to make you funny.
Yeah, I suppose it proves that somebody has a character, a recognisable character.
Because I always remember you saying that David Cameron was very difficult to do because basically there wasn't anything there.
Yes, I think he tried to be deliberately as bland and anodyne as possible, so there was nothing could stick.
So you couldn't grab onto something, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You couldn't grab onto it. Now, look, you're also, and the new tour's come up, Imposter Syndrome.
Yes.
That's really clever. That's such a clever title.
So tricky to find names for impression shows. You know, Rory Bremner, who else? Brilliant title.
Yes.
Lewis McLeod is not himself. Brilliant title. It's quite tricky to find one. Usually it just pops in your head and you write it down quickly. Yeah,
but that's a great one, Imposter Syndrome. And you're singing impressions now as well.
Quite a bit more music in there now. I do some Guy Garvey, I do some Liam Gallagher. Quite often, you know, some great friends of mine, Christina Bianco and Jess Robinson, they might swap musical styles, you know, Julie Andrews singing Status Quo, things like that.
Right, but that's brilliant. That's a great idea.
Which is a great route to take. I quite like to take one style of music. I'm going to do a Libertine song, but perform it as Andy Williams, because that's just fascinating.
Right. Gosh, you've got a strange mind. A good one. It's very creative. And I like the fact that you're singing more. You know, and you're doing that whole kind of thing, because you've got a great voice and you're set, you know, as yourself.
If I stay within my bandwidth of singing, I'm all right. I can't go too far.
I mean, I would love to be able to sing, but obviously I demonstrated yesterday, dressed as an owl, that I couldn't sing.
Oh, you could.
Yeah.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Artificial intelligence, a lot has been made of this, and a lot of people are saying eventually it will take everyone's jobs, and especially in the world of entertainment. But can it really, do you think? Are you worried about it at all?
Well, I think we're aware of it, but I think that the human mind, the human character, the human heart will always just stay a few notches ahead of it. The sense of feeling, the sense of truth. Sure. I think human beings will always have an upper hand there.
No, very much so.
At the moment, to AI, voice-wise, it's rather sat-navvy. This is how it sounds, and it sort of comes across in an artificial way.
Oh, like that's that. I hear that all the time when I'm doing that voice, that man, that thing.
Yes, exactly. But I think my optimistic view is that we should stay a few steps ahead of it.
Oh, definitely. I hope we can. Otherwise, it gets very dystopian and disturbing and very, very scary.
If it gives us robots like C-3PO everywhere, then fine.
Yeah, because
can't be taken
they
over.
were quite interesting and quite nice, really. We want benevolent.
Yes,
benevolent robots, that's for sure. We share something in that when we grow up, obviously we've not grown up yet, but I always wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up.
Wow,
as did you. You wanted to be... You're fascinated by space, aren't you? A bit of a geek like me.
Oh, yes. Astronomy is a wonderful thing. As Carl Sagan always used to say, astronomy
hero.
is a character-building and humbling pursuit.
Oh.
So I love to get around the world chasing solar eclipses.
Yeah.
And looking at the stars whenever I can.
It's wonderful.
A good moonrise, good for the soul.
It is good for the soul. I remember being able to see it was in Argentina, I think, and we were out in the middle of nowhere and we were camping and just looking up at the stars. It gives you a sense of how small you are as
yes,
well.
It really does.
I know.
Then you can think of it the opposite way, that the elements from the stars are also in us.
That's right.
So we are part of something big. That can make us feel big.
That's true. That's what Carl Sagan always said,
Yes,
didn't he?
exactly.
Oh, it's just... I can't believe we got to talk about Carl Sagan on the show. This is joy. Sheer joy. So, look, when does Imposter Syndrome all kick off?
It's next year from February through to May.
Right.
All around the UK.
Fantastic.
So, yes.
Oh, it's so good to see you, John.
You too, Lorraine.
Long may you continue doing what you do, especially your trump is... your trump, that sounds rude.
I'm
but
so
it's very
sorry
good.
for lowering the tone. I didn't mean to do it, but it was a great honor to do it on your program. The sense of celebration is still alive from yesterday. It was so beautiful. It was so fantastic. I loved your inauguration yesterday. It was so great to see.
It's terrifying.
I know.
Thank you so much, John.